What you see here is the boring tool. Jake Zinola is lining it up for the last cylinder on the passenger side. What happens is this machine will automatically center itself. It squeezes, there's a device that goes down, squeezes itself out, and locks in the center of the cylinder. Then he goes around to the back side and he fastens it using part of a jig. It goes to that bar that's sitting underneath the block itself, tightens that all the way up, and now it is perfectly square with the block, so it can bore a perfect hole. Now he goes to the front side and he is inserting the cutting tool. Now he sets it all up, starts up the machine, and it'll just go around and around as it automatically goes down through the whole cylinder to the end. So how much is that cutting off?
I think 30,000 for the stock board. So probably like 25,000, then we'll hone and hit the rest. 26,000. Good little machine right here.
Okay, now how does it go down by itself?
There's gears turning right here that allow, when this thing's spinning this way, it's slowly letting it go down this way at the same time. There's gears that are meshed within each other inside here. See, it's still spinning right here. All this is turning in here, but this is all free spin. Slowly turning, rotating.
Okay, here's where it's spinning. In the next step, the block goes into the honing machine, and Jeff Zinola, the owner / dad, will walk us through the whole process on how this is done. you can see Jeff installing the rough cut stones on the honing machine. And later on, after he goes through and does all the cylinders, he'll come back and put a fine set of stones on there. The blue pipe that you see there is used to put cutting oil to lubricate cylinders while he's honing it. Jeff is using a micrometer to measure the outside diameter of the pistons, so when he hones the cylinder walls in the block, these pistons and the cylinders will be a perfect match.
I'm just telling you, my goal is to bring the dial to 0. That's what we're going for. And right now I'm just roughing the cylinder out. We had 2 thousandths to hone on it, so I'm roughing it. Okay. So then what you're going to see me do is I'm going to go to the next hole. We're going to end up doing all 8 holes, and then I'm going to go and change the stone to the finished stone, then go back and finish the 8 holes again. Okay. So right now basically what I'm doing is roughing them down to about 1/1000th of an inch left, and then I'm going to finish off.
Now, how do you know how much to take off right now, or you just by feel?
No, well, for me, by feel. I know how much it's going to take to hone. I have 2/1000th of an inch to hone. It doesn't seem like much because it's only 2 hair thick inches, but it'll take about 10 of these strokes or so before I'll even take 1/1000th of an inch. Because I don't put you don't put a lot of pressure on it.
Okay.
And especially with my broken collarbone, I really can't put a lot of pressure, so it takes a little more. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the top of the bore and the bottom of the bore.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking to keep it straight. That's what we're trying to do.
Okay.
And all that honing that I just did only took 1/2,000.
Okay.
So you think like you're sitting there watching me go up and down and God, it must be taking a lot.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't. And I actually have a rough stone in there. If I had the fine one in there, I probably only would have took 1/4 of 1/1000th of an inch. That's why I have 2 left at each hole. I know I have 2,000. That's why I changed the stones. They just go quicker for me.
Okay.
Have Jake get the edge out of the back of the truck. Ones on each side.
Okay.
Feeds the lifters. So you can see it's schmegma and crap that builds up in behind you.
Okay, so where does it come from?
Oil pump from here, or actually from this hole right here. This is your oil pump that's up here. It pumps it through this hole, through here, through the filter, and back down into the engine. And we're just going to remove the galleys out just so that way when it washes that it can clean those holes out better. So you can see how there's sludge and stuff in there. Okay. Inside that galley. Pop out of there right now.
I don't.
No, but I'm just saying someday if you ever do, I always tell people, you drill through all the way through. If you break the EV out or you break a drill in there, you can always drive it all the way through.
Oh.
That's just a... And the trick is to try to get it, centered as best as possible. You're doing it with freehand. But the center you can get it, it's going to be off on the next drill. Just pour it right out. all I did all day long was just put motors together. Somebody else did all this. Basically, they get it all ready like this,
Yeah.
and then it'd come to my department, and then I'd get to put the crank and the pistons in.
Okay, there it is. And the hole, is that for where the oil goes?
Yeah, that hole there is where I'm going to line it up to that groove. That round groove there, that's where that one hole is going to go. Camber that you put down. So there's no way to hit this hole here straight up and down. So now I'm going to put that hole so that way you can look through that hole to make sure that this is lined up with your hole.
Oh, okay.
It's a full groove. It doesn't really matter, but it makes it easier for us to look down that hole to make sure we're lined up.
Okay.
I got it. And now if you look down there, you can see the hole.
Oh yeah, you can see the hole.
watch the pin pushing this through. Watch the pin. See that?
Oh yeah, there's the pin.
Piston will explode.
Take this apart, you cut the parting line here, and that makes the circle smaller.
Okay.
So then it makes it smaller, then we bring it back to the standard size again, because the circle will be smaller. We set it up to here and bring it into here, and that brings us to 0. And we want to try to get it so it's sitting there right at 0. And then we do that same thing to all the other rods. We put them all in here, and we'll bring them all to 0. And then when we bring that one's 7/10 below 0. So we're going to stick it in here, and we're going to hone it out that 7/10. Back in here. And we have 2/10, so we only have a little bit more to go. There we go. There's our 0. Yeah. Check them all. Pass off. Its life has taken this motor apart for some reason.
Okay, so now what happens is that it cools.
Then it cools and it'll actually lock itself onto the the pin. Okay. And then it'll actually pretty warm, but so then they'll become loose once they heat up evenly. Mm-hmm. And it'll be nice and free when you're putting it together.
Okay.
So you just don't want to touch them because they're really hot. And then just go in there. Then you always, this dot is the front. So when you're putting it together, make sure all the dots are going to the front. And then see these little marks? These are a little trick for Chevrolet. See these little marks?
Yes.
They're only on one side of the rod. You'll see that. See how they only sits out on one side?
Okay.
And there's barely anything there, but the big side. This side of it, no matter what you do, these tabs always go to the outside of the crankshaft. So if for some reason you're putting it together and you're like, hey, it won't go together, just remember that these always go to the outer side of the, of the crank.
Okay.
That's just a little, like my dad told me.
I would have.
When you're putting it together, always look for that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because then it doesn't mean, sometimes we make a mistake and mark it wrong or whatever, and then you go to put it together, and you got, 5 of them one way when you should only supposed to have 4. And you're like, what the hell's going on here? And see right now, now it just rocked on. It doesn't take long to clamp on. You're not expanding that much. A couple thousandths of an inch.
Amazing. So that concludes our fun day at Zinola's machine shop, where I watched the cylinders in the block being bored out, the cylinders being honed. They removed and replaced the freeze-out plugs, the oil gallery plugs, installed new camshaft bearings, installed the camshaft, removed and replaced the pins on the piston. We saw the block go in their gigantic dishwashing machine, okay? And of course, they drilled out the bolt that I broke in the block and tapped new threads. That was something that I always used to make my dad do. But anyway, Jeff and Jake, they're fun, they're friendly, they're very competent machinists. So if you need any machine work done on your car, I am going to include all their contact information.